Chicago Bulls' Zach LaVine has an eye on trade to our San Antonio Spurs.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans, Chicago Bulls fans, NBA fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. And the San Antonio Spurs are in the midst of another long losing streak, something we experienced all last season. Now here it is this season. And with that losing, some people are saying enough is enough, and it's time for a change. And that change may be making a big trade for Zach LaVine. I'm going to go over this article, and I'm going to drop my 2 cents on what I think should happen. Spurs fans and Bulls fans, let me know in the comments down below. Is this a trade you'd like to see happen? Spurs fans, what would you be willing to give up? Any Bulls fans that are ready to part with him, what would you want in return? Hit that thumbs up if you help support our channel, and subscribe to become part of our wonderful San Antonio Spurs and NBA community. And let's get into the article right now, Spurs, Bulls fans. Per Yahoo Sports' Jake Fisher, the San Antonio Spurs are a team to watch in the trade sweepstakes for Chicago Bulls all-star guard Zach LaVine, whose name has been floating around in trade rumors since the offseason. Quote, LaVine also has an eye in joining the San Antonio Spurs, sources said, in order to pair with rookie sensation Victor Wembanyama and reunite with head coach Greg Popovich, who oversaw the 2020 Team USA outfit that LaVine helped win a gold medal in Tokyo. Unquote. His addition would obviously provide a lot from a talent perspective, but it might not make the most sense. Fisher points out that teams won't like the idea of potentially taking on his massive 4-year, $180 million contract. Additionally, making him the newest member of this current roster sounds like fun until you realize who the Spurs would likely have to give up in return. Is it worth it? Well, that's where I'm going to come in, Spurs fans, and that's where your comments are coming down below. If we were to make a trade for Zach LaVine, I feel like we would have to give up anywhere from 2 players to 3 players. Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, both. Probably Doug McDermott's going to need to throw in there for salary purposes. And draft picks. 1 draft pick, 2 draft pick, 3 first rounders, 4 first rounders. I feel like the Bulls are going to want a lot. And there are positives to bringing Zach to the San Antonio Spurs. 1, he's going to help us close out games, something we've seen the Spurs struggle tremendously with this season, where they've had those leads going into the fourth quarter and just can't seem to hold the lead, much like last night. He would give us, I would think, that scoring we need in a pinch. When we need somebody to go out there and get some points, Zach could certainly be a person that could step up and help us close some games. He is a veteran in his 10th year, so he would give us veteran leadership. And he's still only 28, so he's a vet, but he's a young vet at 28. And he's going to bring some star power to the San Antonio Spurs. We have no All-Stars on this roster. He is a 2-time All-Star, and Wemby, I got to think at some point is going to be an All-Star in the future, maybe near future as in next year. So that would be good for the team and publicity and bringing eyeballs to the franchise. However, there are some negatives with Zach as well. The big one for me is going to be, one of the big ones is injury concerns. He's had some injuries throughout his career, and I always worry bringing in a player that's had injury problems in the past. Are we going to see them again as he is getting closer to 30? We mentioned that huge contract. Next year, he's set to make $43 million. The following year, $45 million. And then his last year, $48 million. We got a lot of rookies on our roster. Your contracts are going to be coming up sooner than later, and we're going to need to re-sign them. Wemby's contract is up in 3 years when Zach does. We're going to be able to re-sign Zach for $50 million plus Wemby's contract. So that's a big concern there. And more importantly, we need a point guard, not a shooting guard. We need somebody to run the offense. And I'm still rooting for Jeremy Sochan in this Sochan experiment, but if you're bringing Zach in, he's a shooting guard. Is he going to be asked to run the offense and play point guard? I think he played point guard in his rookie season, but aside from that, he's not a point guard, and that's sorely what we need at times on this team, is just somebody to be El Capitan for the offense. Also, will it stunt the growth of other players on our team? Zach's going to take about 17 to 20 shots a game. Is that going to take away from Wemby? Is that going to take from other players? Will having him handle the ball so much and shooting the ball so much on offense, is that going to hurt the growth of our other guys? That is a concern. Also, will our defense improve? Probably not. Probably will stay the same, or maybe it'll even get even worse. And the Spurs need defense. We are one of the worst maybe the worst defensive team in the NBA. I don't know the stats right now, but I'm pretty sure I know we're down near the bottom. I just don't know if we are at the bottom. And also, if we get Zach LaVine, are we just going to be stuck in the pack in that 5 to 10 seed? We're good enough now to make the playoffs with Zach, but never good enough to win. Because you got to think, if he comes to the Spurs, it's going to be the next 3 years, and then with that huge contract, that's probably going to be it. Are we going to win a title in the next 3 years? I know a lot of Spurs fans are optimistic, thinking Wemby's going to develop into the next big thing, and yes, we are a championship team within the next 2 to 3 years. But if you're taking pieces out that you thought were going to be part of that championship team, such as Keldon and Devin and maybe somebody else, maybe we're not. I don't know. So my thoughts on this, Spurs fans, my 2 cents, should we make a trade for him? I say no. The team has a lot of issues right now. They're a young team. They're learning to play together. We're seeing them compete for a few quarters. We've seen them beat a good team in the Phoenix Suns twice. So we know they have the capability, but they're just not putting it together. And they're sure as heck not putting it together for 4 quarters. And bringing Zach in right now, to me, would be a Band-Aid. It's a temporary fix for right now. But we need more of a long-term solution, i.e. a point guard that's going to be with us for the next 5 to 10 years. I like Zach Collins. I don't think he's a long-term answer at center. So maybe a center. Or if the Jeremy Sohan experiment works out, then maybe he is our point guard of the future. Of course, there's also, some fans are saying Jeremy doesn't look happy. And if we keep him at the point, he may demand a trade. Who the heck knows? I hope it works out. I'm really hoping this thing doesn't blow up with the Jeremy Sohan experiment. I still believe in the Fantastic Four, which, if you're new to the channel, or maybe haven't heard me say it before, the Fantastic Four to me is Wemby, Keldon, Devin, and Jeremy. And I'm hoping those 4 are our future. I don't know who the 5th person is in that starting lineup yet, but I really hope it's those 4 because I've grown to like all 4 players. Obviously, Wemby's only been here for 1 year, but I've grown to like him for obvious reasons. I like how Jeremy grew last year, and I hope at some point he grows significantly this year at the point spot. His 3-point shooting, Spurs fans, has gotten better. He's shooting over 40%, I believe, so at least he's shown improvement there. But there's obviously a lot of growing pains with him at that point forward position. I know a lot of fans are ready to trade Keldon. The hero ball comes up a lot during the live streams, but I still think he brings a lot of good things to the team, and maybe he becomes a 6th man for the team in the near future. Who knows? And Devin, I'm really hoping Devin can be an important part of this franchise for the next few years. My one concern with Devin that's starting to ring true now with other Spurs fans is the injury concerns. He had missed a lot of time last year due to injury. We're starting to see injuries pop up this year left and right. Yes, they're just little injuries and causing to miss a couple games here and there. But what happens when these little injuries kind of linger around throughout the year? You start missing games more and more and more, and then one of those little injuries turns into a serious injury, and now you're out for 10 games, 15 games, 20 games, the rest of the year. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope he has a very fruitful career for the Spurs. I hope he becomes an all-star at some point. We've seen a lot of potential with Devin, but it's going to be unrealized potential if he can't stay on the court. So I'm going to say no to this. If the Spurs do make a move and trade for him, you guys know I'll root for him. Whoever's wearing the silver and black, I'll be absolutely crushed if it's one of the Fantastic Four. But if we're going to get Zach LaVine, it's going to cost us some assets and probably some draft picks we may not want to part with. So for me, it's a no. But if you guys say yes in the comments, I certainly respect your opinion and certainly would love to see and read why you think we should bring him in. So that's all I got. Hope you have a wonderful Sunday. I'm ready for the trifecta this weekend, my friends. Spurs lose on Friday, Spurs lose on Saturday. The Giants are probably going to lose today because they suck. So thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, and as always, go Spurs go.